Welcome to my videos about aspects of using Microsoft technology, focusing on the integration services today. And today's video will be about using of Dataverse. Those who didn't work with Dataverse, I will explain a bit. The Dataverse is a Microsoft data storage platform which is residing in the car, which is used for Power Platform applications and the suite of Dynamics 365 applications. As I said, it sits in the cloud. Essentially, it's a relational database consisting of tables, rows, columns, relations between them, keys, indexes, and so on and so forth. So just remember what you know about the relational databases. And now this technology is moved to the cloud and becomes the software as a service. Okay, so there is one aspect of using Dataverse actions, Dataverse connectors in the logic apps, which may be frustrating or confusing, especially for those who face this for the first time. I went this path and found a solution. And now I want to share my experience with you with the issue which I will be talking about. A person who faces it for the first time may sit the whole day finding out what is going on, what's happening. And eventually to find out that, well, this is sort of by design behavior. Okay, then let's get started. For my demonstration, I have prepared a logic app which will show a few scenarios. And I will start off by an HTTP trigger. The HTTP trigger accepts a very simplified data structure, just which will serve to go through the demo workflow. And I'm going to start with creation of a Dataverse action. In the list of available actions in the logic app, you'll get a set of actions for various purposes. And first of all, they are split into groups labeled legacy and preview. It becomes confusing from the beginning. Legacy sounds like something outdated and what shouldn't be used, and exists here just for backup compatibility. Okay, that's good. But the other group is preview, which sounds like, well, this is a pretty fresh product. You shouldn't use it for production environment because it's still been tested. You may have problems while using it. So we should have something in between, which is generally available and suitable for production. But we don't have any other option. I will tell you that the option that we have is to use the preview. Yes. And this is commanded by Microsoft. You will find it in the article Connect to Microsoft Dataverse. Here is an important block of text. And here Microsoft says that for backward compatibility, existing workflows continue to work with the legacy Dataverse connectors. Yeah, this is totally understandable. Legacy is for the backward compatibility. In our current project, which we develop right now, we have to use the preview, because if we start using legacy, then we have to, at the same time, think about a migration process as a next step later this year, to replace legacy connectors with the preview connectors. But I draw the focus on this not because of words preview, but because of the behaviors of these connectors. That's why I started with my logic app. And then I will just show an example. And I have to use, let's say, I will use the list rows. And here I will select the environment. The environment shows me two environments existing in my Dataverse instance, where I can take one, and then in the list of tables, the connector will show me the available list of tables. Works good. This is the legacy. Now I go to the selection of the actions again, list rows, and then I choose the preview, click on select environment. Oh, and then you see that it doesn't show me the list of environments. It shows me some error. Could not retrieve values. Error reading J array from JSON reader. Path, click on this arrow. Path, empty string, line 1, position 0, blah, blah, blah. So it couldn't parse the data returned by the Dataverse to this connector. No more details. Of course, we can try to dig deeper by using this identifier. But if you go to the, for instance, dynamic site and copy the URL of that environment and paste it in here, let's paste it. No, I use the custom value. And paste it in here. And I then click on the list of tables. It returns a list of tables, just as expected. That works good. So it's not a big deal that the connector does not return the list of environments here, but it's a thing that confuses, and a developer may sit and spend some time figuring out what is going on before he tries using other alternatives in using static value, hoping that it will start working. But what I usually do, I define a parameter. Here it's called Dataverse base URL, and I have placed the URL to my Dataverse environment. And then I use this parameter from the dialog box, giving me a possibility to use auto values. Boom, goes here. And then it works as expected. This is good. And anyway, using of property for the logic app is a preferred way, because you will have, or you potentially may have many connectors sharing the same environment, of course. And the parameter gives you the easy possibility to change the environment, just doing it in one place. And then this parameter is also pretty simple to use in the deployment scenarios, where the URL actually goes from the DevOps variable set, and then is placed into the release pipeline, and then populated in here into the logic app workflow. Okay, then I don't need these two actions. They were created just for demonstrating difference in behavior. And I don't say that this action will work just the same way for all the developers in other environments. It just, in my experience, in my case, it fails returning the list of environments. For others, it may work. Okay, I delete this one. And then this is my workflow. The scenario is that I'm going to create a case in Dataverse, and I will operate with a few attributes, a few properties of this case, and I will show how it fails and how it succeeds, what should be done in order to succeed the operations. So this condition splits the process into two flows. One will use the legacy connectors, and the connectors are add case, which creates a new case in Dataverse. Another one is update of a case. Let's call it update case. just the same case, of course. And then another branch is doing just the same, but with use of preview connectors. Here I control which branch will it go to. So 2 equals 2 means it will go to the legacy actions. So the first test scenario will be, sorry, I have to save it first. The first case will be creation of an incident or a case, how it's called in Dataverse, with giving only the account name. A case in Dataverse has to be linked with the account or a customer, we may call it both customer or account, which means that all the other fields will be filled with null values or empty values. I have to go back and show what goes into the created case. The case title, I just generate a string, virtually random. I take the UTC now function, which gives me the current date and current time, and I just format this into a string containing the current date and current time, including seconds. It's just to show something. The customer goes from the list accounts action. So the list account stays here up, and I use the account name which comes in the request to the HTTP trigger, and then the found account account ID is used here for creation of a case, for linking the case to this customer. This will always, according to my scenario, this will always get a value. And then I use a contact. A contact usually is a person. And here I will use the various scenarios. So the value for a contact is taken from the list contacts action, which is placed here. And I use the contact last name as an attribute to find the contact in the Dataverse table. And then it's sent to Dataverse, connecting the case to this contact. And here I use some logical statement. So maybe I need to give some comments to this statement. I'll switch to the notepad and I'm going to paste this statement in here. And for simplicity, I will just make some line breaks. What is done here is making a decision. If the data returned by the list contacts action is empty, and here we use the value attribute. The value is a standard attribute returned by the action list rows. The elements of the list are always encapsulated in a value attribute. So if value is empty, then we will use the null value. If it's not empty, then I can remove concatenate from here. It's not needed. We will use the contact ID, which sits inside the value. I will show you what it looks like after all. So I compose this statement back into one row, and I'm going to paste it into the logic app. I'll just update it. A simplified version without concatenation. Update. And the update. For the update, I use of course, the raw identifier. The raw identifier comes from the list of cases. And to find a case, I will use a case number. The case number is a value automatically assigned by Dataverse to every case. It's in the field ticket number. And then if the case is found by the number, then using the case ID or incident ID, what is an internal name for this field, I will place it into raw identifier, and then the same pseudo-random title and the same logic for setting the customer and the contact. Here I have to specify that the contact is taken from accounts table and the value itself. I have to clean up here as well. By removing concatenate. And the function first is used because this is taken from the result of action list of rows, and of course it's a collection which is returned. So I have to take one element of the collection. I will just take the first one, and there will be only one because the case with the same number is only one in the set of cases in Dataverse. Okay, updated. Let's make a last check. Looks correct. Yeah, I'll save it. So in my first test scenario, I'm going to use a very simplified data containing only account structure, account name, and the account name is the existing account. It will be found during the workflow. Let's see what happens. First of all, the data is accepted by the logic app. Then we can switch to the run history and see how it went. It's the last one. And then the trigger gave us the account name. The account was found in the Dataverse table accounts. Looks good. The contact, I didn't give the contact name. The filter statement looked like last name equals empty string, so it returned the empty array. Cases, I didn't give the case number, so again this is just an empty array. And by the way, the result looks in this case like this. So you see that there is some service data here, and there is a value attribute containing the array of data. And if the action doesn't find anything, if the Dataverse doesn't find anything, it returns an empty array. Looks good so far. Then we went to the left branch to the legacy actions, and the add case was chosen because the case doesn't exist. And here the case was created. We see the green tick showing that the operation went good. The customer ID, it was the account found by the account name, and the ID was returned by Dataverse. Looks good. And all the other values are default ones. Then I will take the case number of this case, and I will use it in the next request to this logic app. And I will start a new run. And in this run, I will give the case number of this case, which was just created. Set it. It was okay. Then it's running. And let's see what happened. In the list of cases, I've got data, because now it uses the filter ticket number equals the case number. So we've got the result. And again, let's see what it looks like. And we've got the value with one element array. Fine. Refresh again. Succeeded. Then we see that the workflow went by the branch update of case, and the case was updated. What was sent to Dataverse, the customer ID, it's called customer, while the internal name for the table in Dataverse is accounts. Okay. Now we have a test case for the preview actions. So I go to the running panel, paste it. I will remove the case number. Oh, sorry. I forgot to change the condition. Let's set 1. 1 is not equal to 2, then the flow will go to the right. Great. And data without case number, I click run. The flow accepted the data, then I go to the execution. Let's see what has been done here. Just the same way, the account was found, the contact wasn't found, the case wasn't found, and then we go to creation of the case. Now with the use of the preview action, let's see what was sent to the Dataverse. Sorry, it was return data. We'll send the customer ID. Here the notation is a bit changed. So instead of 2 attributes for the legacy connector, where the one attribute identifies that it is account, and another attribute containing the identifier value, in the preview action, we use one attribute combining both. And take note that the line table for accounts is used in the plural form. The actual name of the table is account, but here we have to use the plural form accounts. And it applies to all types of referenced data. So here it's a reference field, and moreover, it's not only reference field, but it's polling reference field, which means that it may refer different data. And which type of data we refer, we have to specify in this prefix or statement, accepting the ID in the parenthesis. Okay, then we see that it went well. And I will take the case number for this one. Click run, refresh, and we see that it failed. The flow went by the right branch to the preview action, and update case failed. The error message: the supplied reference link is invalid. Expecting a reference link of the form/entityset key. Let's see what was sent to Dataverse. We sent 3 attributes. This one went well in the creation of the case. This one went well as well in the creation of the case. And this one was not a source of problem either. But I can tell you that this empty string is actually a problem. So first of all, I want to draw your attention to the error message itself. The error message doesn't say anything which field was the cause of the problem. Let's assume I have lots of fields, and trust me, case contains a lot of fields, and many of them are reference fields. And there may be even more fields created additionally, custom fields in the custom provided by custom solution. So if you have a couple of dozens of fields and such a message saying that you have a problem, an error, indicating nothing about the source of the problem, it may be a whole day work for you to figure out what was wrong. But since I went this way already, I will help you. The primary contact equals empty string is actually a problem, and the Dataverse is not satisfied with it. What happened? To show this, I have to go to the designer, and when we go to this section, we will find that the contact is specified this way. This is a logical statement which either takes the first element in the array of list of contacts and takes the contact ID of this element, putting in here, or it puts a null. And it looks good, nothing wrong here. And the problem appears if we look into the peak code view, which will show us what we have in the code. And the primary contact ID, the statement here looks like this. And here I have to point out the use of braces. If you are familiar with using functions in the logic apps, braces is a method of returning a string value. If you put your statement, your function, into this statement will return a string value, even if what's contained inside it returns the integer value, for instance. This integer will be converted into string and put into the attribute. So here our null value, because we use the data without the contact specified, if the contact wasn't found, and then this statement makes returning of null. But since we have braces, these converted the null value into an empty string. And that's why instead of expected, let's go back. Instead of expected null value, here we've got an empty string. Another consideration is that, okay, we have 2 sets of Dataverse actions, the legacy ones and the preview ones. The legacy ones are totally fine with accepting empty string, and we saw this in this run. here. This was a legacy action run, and the primary contact ID value was empty string. The legacy action accepted this value totally fine, no errors. But the same value for the preview action caused an error. Well, it's a change in behavior that we should remember about. And another thing is that I will switch back to the designer view and show you that when you work with functions in the expression window, expression edit box, everything you write in here will be put into the code of the action, embraced with braces, which means that you will always get a statement assigning a string value to your field. Even though it's not shown in the hint, you will not find the braces in the hint. And the only thing to do for you to correct this is to go to the code view, find the section. Let's see. I will search by preview. Update case. Yes. The primary contact ID, data bind. Here is my statement inside the braces. So I have to remove them, save it, and if I go to the designer view, just to show you what happened, nothing has changed in the hint. It just shown the same way. But if I resubmit the same run, running, one more refresh, boom, it succeeded. The same update of the case succeeded, and if we check what was sent, in this case, the null value was set to the primary contact ID field. And this is the thing to remember about when you develop your solution with use of logic apps and Dataverse actions, that when you want to assign a null value to an attribute of the Dataverse entity or Dataverse, how they are called today. If you make manual changes to the logic app, make correction of the statement of the logical expression, then it will be saved by the logic designer with braces again. So it's a bit sensitive. You may read about braces in the documentation, yes, but you may not be aware that the braces are set this way and always used when you operate with expression window. So this is the lesson for today. I'm happy if it helped someone. So let me finish my demonstration for today. Set likes if you found it helpful and useful, and subscribe to my channel. I will continue sharing my IT consultant experience here. Goodbye.